Greetings, fellow viewers of the Team Talus channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Poke. You'll see all my descriptions in the, well, not descriptions, but you'll see all my information in the description. That's what I actually mean. I'm here to bring you a new series on the Team Talus channel revolving wrestling. I don't know the name of it yet. Maybe we'll have a name for it in the future, but here it is. We're starting out this series with Wrestlepalooza from 2025. This was the tier list that I had initially created prior to the show starting. I ended up putting S tier for the mixed tag team match against, it was Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins against CM Punk and AJ Lee. For the A tier, I had the main event, which was for the undisputed title. It was Cody Rhodes against Drew McIntyre. For the B tier, I originally had the tag team match, the Usos versus the Vision. And then I also had the opener, which was John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. And then for the C tier, I had Io Sky, and I'm going to butcher this other person's name, so I'm not going to say it, but you guys know who it is, and you'll see it in post, and I had them for the C tier. Now we're going to be checking out part 2 of this series, where we actually break down the matches, and you'll see my thoughts about it. And we can't forget about the surprises during Wrestlepalooza. The first surprise is the bearer of bad news. He was back as a commentator. No one expected that, honestly. There was like rumors that he was fired or suspended. I don't know. I didn't fully look into it, but he was back commentating. It was great. Also, another commentator that came back was Pat McAfee. Sure, I guess. I don't know. Cool. But the real surprise of that night was Undertaker returning for a small segment, and he was the American persona that he was showing off. He drove in on his motorcycle, and he was like, "Stephanie McMahon, are you following me? Because you were at the UFC fight, and now you're here. Oh, and also, guess what? You're the first introductee to the 2026 Hall of Fame." Alright, so we're going to be starting a review on the first match, the opener, which was Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. Right out of the gate, we got Paul Heyman out of nowhere. There's our surprise. You know, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman." That was a great start to the match, and then that was it. Everything else was terrible, because right after that, it was like, oh my gosh, Brock Lesnar just destroyed John Cena. It was a squash match. I think it lasted like 7 minutes. It was a nightmare. Honestly, it was just finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher. That's all it was. It was terrible. Honestly, that kid crying, that's how I felt in that match, just crying watching it, because it was terrible. Garbage. For the second match on our list, it was the Usos versus the Vision. Well, 2/4 of the Vision, or 2 out of the 5, if you really think about it. Because isn't Paul Heyman part of the Vision? Who knows? Anyways, I gotta say, the Vision looked like clowns right off the gate. I don't know what they were wearing. It was strange to me. They did not look cool at all. The Heat movement was alive. I love that they incorporated it on the staircase, and the child was there, and then it continued on the encore in the ring. LA Knight wasn't a big fan of it, but LA Knight, man, he played a big role in that match, and honestly, he outperformed the wrestlers, I felt like. There were so many great moments in that match, too. There was like a super close call that looked like a botch, but it wasn't really a botch because it wasn't their fault. It was more like the chair placement, where one of them was getting thrown up in the air, and they could have easily, one of the Usos could have easily just smacked down in that chair, but thankfully that didn't happen. Yeah, there was a lot of close calls out of nowhere. I mean, the bleeding out of nowhere was also strange, too. I gotta say, I was like, who the heck's bleeding? When did that happen? Oh my gosh, the match had to be called off, like, early is what I heard because of that. There was so many great elements. Speaking about chairs, I didn't even bring that up. LA Knight allowed chairs and tables, dude. Like, there was like so many great chair moments. The first one was outside the ring. He's like, "Hey, put that back," and then here comes the super kick, and then it's like, you can use the chair, I don't care. And then everyone was like, yeah. And then they were chanting tables at some point, and I was like, put the table back. And then later on it came in, and then there was another chair in the middle of the ring, and one of the Usos was able to use it against the other team. Unfortunately, the Usos didn't win. I really wanted the Usos to win that match, and they didn't. But, it was a really great match. I loved the match. It was very enjoyable. I do think, like I said, LA Knight was the steal of that match. He was amazing. Amazing special guest referee. Say that 5 times fast. Unfortunately, I still can't say her name, but you know what match I'm talking about. It was for the vacated women's title, which was relinquished by Naomi when she announced her pregnancy. I was not drawn to the story of that match, but I gotta say that match was definitely entertaining. It it could have easily been called the best match of the night, but I'm biased to the next one after that, and you'll see that soon. But they were talented. There was a lot of submission holds and lockups in the beginning, and then there was a lot of high flying actions. And at the end of the day, they made the right decision on who the winner was. It could have easily gone to Io Sky or the other lady, but again, I can't say her name. I don't know how to say it, so that's why I'm not saying it. But she ended up winning, and I'm glad that she won. I feel like it was the right decision for her to win. Now we go to the fourth match of the night. Wow, I'm butchering it up today. It was the match that I was biased for because I'm a huge CM Punk fan. Always have been, always will be. The mixed tag team match. Right off the gate, freaking the Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch looking like ding dongs. They're SpongeBob over there in the sky, and then you got who's CM Punk? I don't know CM Punk. You mean AJ's husband? Man, that was great. I love that. That's how it started, just from them walking onto the stage. Amazing. And then right after that, the match was like about mind games. It was about, okay, let's get into the minds of CM Punk and AJ Lee. Let's get that tension, and it was great. Like it was a small build up that needed to happen. I felt like the mind game playing was really amazing, and then they're like, I'm not having this. And then the match actually officially kicked off after they used the suicide dive. CM Punk dived off the off the ring and was like, I ain't having this. We're fighting. And then there was a lot of build up. We're like, we want AJ, because the men were fighting, and they're like, CM Punk ain't gonna tag her in. There was a really close call, because he did successfully tag, but Becky was smart and didn't let the ref see, so then it didn't count. But once she actually got in, boom, she went ham, and it went crazy against Becky Lynch. After that, there was so much action that I couldn't pay attention to what was happening. They were this, that was happening. Submission holds, finishers, more submission holds. Freaking the curve stop by Seth Rollins. There was the curve stop on Seth Rollins during a pinfall by AJ Lee. Then there was the moment when they were outside the ring when AJ got thrown into the into the Seth Rollins and CM Punk, and the tables fell. There was also, prior to that, there was also another moment when Seth Rollins picked up Becky Lynch and tried to throw her at CM Punk. This was prior from AJ getting into the match, and it was funny because he missed, and CM Punk rolled out of the way, and oh my gosh. Honestly, like I said, in my opinion, that was match of the night. I think it was also the longest match of the night, so it was like a little over 25 minutes. Man, dude, I was so engaged. There was so much action. The storytelling, I was so driven. Again, I am biased towards CM Punk, but either way, best match of the night. Now we're going to speak about the final match of the night, which was Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. Drew came in all confident and ego-driven, and there was some commentary about how, like, Cody wasn't 100% because of what happened. I think it was that Friday on SmackDown. So basically what happened was Drew Claymore kicked Cody Rhodes into the announcement table, so he was like not fully mentally there, and that's what they were playing towards storyline wise. And then honestly, after that, it was, hey, Cody hit a super cutter from the top rope, nothing was happening, so then they both had to like think about, okay, how do we got to take the other guy out. Drew tried to cheat a little bit with the turnbuckle. He almost got away with it, but I swear the ref was stupid on purpose because there was a roll up, and the ref decided to go out of the ring. And there was a second time the ref was stupid, when he was like, "No, Drew, you can't do this. You did this on Friday. You can't hit him with another Claymore into the announcement table." That messed him up because then Drew hit himself through the announcement table, which then messed up his leg, and then that pretty much ended the match and Cody won. I felt like the story could have been there if they actually gave Drew a chance to actually wrestle. Because I do feel like Drew would have been the better winner in this situation and not Cody Rhodes, but it was this. I felt like it was sloppy. I don't feel like it was the main event material. Honestly, CM Punk and Becky Lynch and the whole mixed tag team match, I felt like that should have been the main event myself.